Hey guys, it's that TCAT. You may be familiar with me in animated form, and this is me in real life form. Or is it? I don't know. So I just recently hit a pretty big milestone, at least for me, and that's 500 subscribers, and that's awesome. So I appreciate everybody's help and support, and a lot of other YouTubers, they do this thing, it's called either Draw My Life or Animate My Life. And I was like, well, I kind of always draw and animate, so I thought, why not undraw my life, right? And actually the title for this video was coined by my wife. So I was really looking for a title for it, and she was just like, oh, like undraw your life? And I was like, yeah, that. So I was thinking I would start off first where my initial interest in art began. And I actually have a very distinct memory of that. I was in the 5th grade, and I remember being given a project where we had to do some drawing. I mean, it was encouraged. At that time, I was also a very big comic book fan, and that kind of made its way into my everyday work at school, in particular this project. And I remember as we were working on it in class, I started to get a lot of compliments, and I feel like that was a defining moment for me, and I felt like it was the first thing that I actually felt like I was good at. And it was a weird feeling for me because I always felt like I was either at the same level as everybody in something or below. The next year, rolling into 6th grade, that was the first time I actually got to take an art class, and I think it was the most incredible thing in the world because it was just a room full of all the stuff I needed and everything I didn't know I wanted to create with. We even played with acid. We etched glass with acid, and it was really cool. I remember thinking that it was scientific, but we were making art, and we had to wear gloves and protective eye gear and all this stuff, and I was like, this seems dangerous, I like it. Through junior high, I continued to build my interest in art and work on my skills, and I was super heavy into comic book art and cartoons and animation in general. Although I didn't ever animate anything, I had this idea that I would become a comic book artist / animator as a career. Fast forward to high school, and 9th grade, my art teacher was very strict, very traditional, and kind of rude. On day one, she had us all work on whatever we wanted. She said, create something that defines you as you are as an artist. And little did I know, this was actually kind of a trap because as we were all creating, of course, I was drawing comic book characters. I think it was actually Spider-Man. And she walks around and she stops. She picks mine up, walks to the front of the class, holds up my half-finished drawing of Spider-Man and says, "This is not art." Well, I drew it with my own hands, with a pencil and a paper, colored pencils or markers, and those are all art supplies. And I was like, how could this not be art? I'm creating it. I'm taking a blank page and I'm putting something on it. So it was really shocking, really confusing, and really terrifying to have your art teacher on the first day, or any teacher for that matter, make a negative example out of you. And it really made me feel like backing out completely. I stuck out the class, and I ended up actually enjoying it. And I learned a lot about traditional aspects of art, painting, figure drawing, still lifes, and I started to really enjoy those aspects because it gave me this new attention to detail and this new focus that I didn't know I actually had. And in my free time, I still drew comic books and stuff, and those skills that I was learning in that class actually translated really well because I learned a lot more about anatomy and muscle definition and shading and proportions. Anytime she caught me drawing comic books, she always shook her head and was just like... She ended up being pregnant with twins and having to leave the class, and she never came back. Through high school, I actually had a total of 4 art teachers. At first I thought, well, this is kind of sucky because I didn't really get what I was feeling like a consistent education. But looking back on it, it was probably one of the best things that could have happened because I got such a diverse education. They all gave me a little something to grow on and to actually take and build who I was as an artist. So by the end of high school, I felt I had developed my art skills in my mind at that time. I thought I had developed my art skills to their maximum. I was part of the IB art program. That's the International Baccalaureate. So that was actually really cool because at the end of the year, we took all of the artwork we created. It was sent to Paris and it was in an actual art show. There were judges and you got this really cool feedback from people in the industry. It was a really great experience. I was also president of the art club. I really just felt like I encapsulated what I wanted to be as an artist at that time. And in my mind, I was going to graduate high school. I was going to go to an art college, but not because I needed to get better, just because that's what artists do. And I was going to get my degree in design, art and design, and then I was going to be an artist. It's not so simple. Once I graduated high school, what I did learn was that things are a lot more difficult than you think. Art colleges are super expensive, and life takes you down paths that you never even thought you would go. It just really throws you through a loop sometimes. But that's not the end. I spent about 10 years not really doing much of anything art-wise. And I'd kind of given up on the whole idea of being an artist in general. I had a series of different jobs where I was trying to just uphold my responsibilities and make ends meet and kind of get things going financially. That whole lifestyle and that sort of just recognition that you're just that you're just pushing forward to financial goals and not really caring what you're doing to get there. I think that ultimately snapped me out of it, and I started to think about how little I enjoyed doing that and start to consider what things I actually enjoyed and how much I would like to do that. I got out all my art supplies. I started painting regularly, drawing regularly, and it wasn't really something I was really pushing a career towards at that time, but it was something that I was doing for fun because it was something I wanted to do, and it was something that nobody else dictated what or how I did it. It was just me. During this time, I did a lot of things I'm really proud of. For one, I actually illustrated and published a children's book. It's called And Teddy Too, and it's just a fun, silly little book about a girl and her teddy bear and how they're inseparable. It's available on Amazon actually right now. I also was an art teacher myself for 2 years, and that was a really great experience because I felt like I was really interacting with young artists and inspiring them to create and to improve their skills. Another thing I did that is kind of weird and quirky is I had a van, and I thought, you know what, like, I'm an artist, I should do something. But I didn't want to go the traditional route, so I created what ended up being called the Chalkmobile. It's kind of what it sounds like. The van, completely covered in chalkboard paint. I would take it from place to place and let people decorate it. It got a lot of attention. I even did some birthday parties. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed doing that. So another cool thing I did is I ended up getting this job, got to know the owner of the company. We ended up talking about a lot of different things in life, and it came up that I was an artist, and so we actually did some really cool projects together. I'm actually pretty proud of this one. It was a message to me that even the silliest, simplest things can actually be something. And it's just these squeeze bottles, and also available on Amazon, by the way. I also did a design for their cover of one of their catalogs. It was just really fun to actually be part of that. And so now we're back to the present, and I have this YouTube channel, and I'm an animator, and I'm having lots of fun doing it, and we're making all kinds of cool things together. But it really has kind of reignited once again who I am as a person, and the fact that I don't want to limit myself just to animating, and I really want to keep growing and continue to create and be different and be silly and be fun and just make something awesome every day if I can. Once again, thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for being there, being part of my channel. Hopefully I continue to see you guys around in the comments, and we continue to create really cool animations together. And there's lots of fun to be had in the future. A lot of ideas I've got going on that I haven't even talked about yet. So until next time, I'm that TCAT, and I will catch you guys later. Hey guys, it's that TCAT, and that's how I normally come in when I'm in animation, is I jump up, you know?
Oh yeah.